Morning, class. This is my capstone presentation on investigating the factors that impact college choice for student athletes. For PE 589, Dr. Angela Robles. My name is Don Watkins. This is Fall 2, December 2018. The purpose of the study was to investigate the most influential factors regarding college choice among student athletes. An additional purpose was to investigate the relationship between male and female athletes and if any bearing on their ethnicities. The central research questions for the studies included what factors were most influential in the final college choice for the student athletes, what relationships existed between the recruiting process, coaches' personality, and program success with the final college choice, and how did the perceptions of influential factors on college choice differ by gender or ethnicity. My first research article was comparing college choice factors in student athletes versus non-student athletes. This study took into account of athletes versus non-athletes at the college level. The purpose of the study was to determine the factors that most entice student athletes to attend private universities while evaluating whether those factors are different from non-athletic students to athletic students. There were 100 students, 50 athletes, and 50 non-athletes. The participants were enrolled in a small liberal arts college. The ages of the participants ranged from 17 to 22. There were 38 males, 61 females. Students were invited to complete a 10-item survey, but their identities were anonymous. There were Likert scale ratings, including very important, somewhat important, not necessary, or NA for non-applicable, regarding the college choice. Athletes completed the survey during the practice time in their sports, while all the non-athletes completed their surveys in the library. The responses were analyzed and compared between both participant groups, athletes and non-athletes, using the chi-square statistics. Athletes rated the following factors very important in the college choice in comparison to non-athlete, the success of the athletics, communication with coaches, and interaction with other players. All students rated the following factors similar was residence hall, dining services, location of the school, recruiting process, and understanding the influential factors. These findings were implied that the difference exists in the way athletes make college choice decisions and compare on non-athlete coaches can improve their recruiting process by understanding these influencing factors. The second article that I researched was factors influencing a university choice for NCAA Division I softball players. The purpose of the study was to investigate the most critical choice factors when selecting the college. There was 196 female student athletes, 10 NCAA Division I softball programs in Ohio that were selected to take a random survey. The sample consisted of 63.8% of the respondents of the partial athletic had partial scholarship athletic scholarships, and 20% of the full scholarship, and 15% without any scholarship. Coaches were given the surveys and instructed to give them to the players while being present. The data was collected over 2 months. Players were instructed that the survey would be voluntary and results were anonymous. There were 37 college choice factors listed. Analyze the data using a mean standard deviation and percentages through cross-sectional method. The top female 6 factors were academic programs, head coach, career opportunities, social atmosphere of the team, amount of financial aid, and academic reputation. The top 3 were academic programs on a mean of 4.3, head coach of 4.2, and career opportunities of 4.2 out of 5. The least important were team website, softball team sponsorships, and the high school coach had no influence. All academics were equally as important to athletic program factors. It is essential to consider academics as well as athletic factors when recruiting athletes. Athletic administrators and coaches need to be aware that these trends should adjust their recruiting techniques accordingly. The third article that I reviewed was difference in college choice factors among freshman student athletes. National Center statistics said there's 12.3 million new students entering college for the first time every year in 2018. And it's essential that we need to know and understand what are their decision choices. There was 246 first-time freshman student athletes, 69 females, and 177 males, that were given a survey to participate in the study. All the students were currently enrolled as a freshman at the 5 different universities in the Mid-South. The schools competed either at the NC2A Division I, II, or NAIA levels. The surveys were handed out during the fall orientation portion of the athletic programs. The students were advised that the surveys were confident and anonymous and voluntarily. The quantitative design used the Kornbach alpha to examine all variables. It produced an overall internal consistency reliability score of 0.84. Mean scores were used to rank the 23 college choice factors. Quantitative design. The top 5 influential factors related to athletic participation across gender and collection. College type. The head coach was the most influential factor for NAIA Division I athletes, ranked as support at number 1. Division II athletes ranked the location of the school as a number 1. The head coach was the most second crucial factor for NC2A Division I and II athletes. Male and females agree that the head coach was the most critical factor. Females ranked program offered second, while males were more interested in the location of the school. The third most influential factor between male and female athletes was the chance to play. College coaches need to understand the whole student. It's not solely based on athletics, but academics as well. Division I schools need to make sure that they are providing the support to address athletes' desire to do well in college, and as well as at all the other levels. Students are interested in the academic programs offered. So in my research, my methodology, I called up all my friends that I had in the coaching business, friends of friends that I had acquaintances of. I reached out to athletic directors that I knew. So I was fortunate enough to have this spread from UConn all the way out there in Connecticut, University of UConn, LMU, Oklahoma State, Houston, University of Houston, a lot of small Division II, IIIs, and NAIAs throughout the country. So it went all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast, and many schools here in the Bay Area as well. So with that being said, the factors that influence college choice, or the FICCS, my survey, consisted of 41 questions that had 4 sections. The first section went over the demographics. The second and third sections consisted of yes, no, multiple choice, Likert scale, and social, an open-ended question. In the first section, it went over the overall influential factors such as financial aid, location, academics, facilities, and social media, etc. The coaches in the second section of the survey, the coaches were influential factors such as call, text, watch games, visit college, how they interacted with the athlete. In the yes-no section, the relationship between the coach and the athlete, were questions in regards to the athlete. And the last one was an open-ended question asking athletes to share with me the most crucial factor that they saw or how they felt in the recruiting process that we can emphasize. So with that being said, all participants received a general consent form, completed the form, participated in the survey. The survey was disseminated via email or text using the Google form link. Their head coaches or athletic directors were given. It took the athletes about 10 minutes to complete this survey. There were 113 athletes, 88 males, 25 females, and participated in the online survey. The participants' ages ranged from 18 to 24 and were active members of their college sports team. The sports represented was baseball, softball, soccer, dance, and bowling. It was a mixed method design using quantitative and qualitative to gather this information. Again, there was 41 questions, had 4 sections, yes, no, demographics, multiple choice, Likert scale, open-ended question to find out what was the most important recruiting factor. The results of my studies were in the first theme overall, in the influential college choice factors overall. So there was 3 sections. All 3 sections had the same questions. They had to rank them in each section. The first overall factor was the amount of financial aid scholarship, 28%. The second section, same choices. They ranked the coaching staff 20%. And then in the third section, same choices. They ranked the academic programs at 24%. In the second theme, it was an analysis of gender perspectives on the most influential factors, and the most influential athletic program factors involved the participants ranking in the top 3 most influential factors, the most influential athletic program factors factoring the college choice decisions. Females ranked 3 most influential factors was the amount of financial aid athletic programs offered and the amount of playing time. Males ranked the 3 most influential factors as the amount of financial aid offered and the coaching staff and the amount of playing time. So between the 2 males and females, they pretty much had the same thing except for the number 2, which was the academic programs, and in the males they chose the coaching staff. I think my hypothesis or my thought on that was the females are more apt to think about education first, where male athletes are looking at the next level, looking where my coach can get me, where going professionally or what ties they have. The next part of the survey was the females ranked the most influential athletic program factors. So there was 5 influential factors for the program itself overall. Coach came and watched. This is like the coach's interactions with the athletes. So the females chose, there was 5 most influential factors that were over 70%. Coach watched me play in a game. Coach emailed me. Coach texted me. Coach called me. And Coach invited me to college. There was 5 of those for the females. And for the males, there was 3. Coach texted me. 3 of them that were over 70%. Coach texted me, Coach called me, and Coach invited me to the college. So between the males and females that were over 70%, females had the additional couple influencing factors was, Coach texted me, Coach emailed me, where the boys were Coach texted me, called me, and invited me to the college. Moving on, the third theme was an analysis of ethnicity. There was no difference in ethnicity that I saw. Everything was pretty much in line with what they did as a gender or as overall. So ethnicity didn't really play a part in this survey. The qualitative section was an open-ended survey question where I asked the participants what they thought was the most important, where they had a short paragraph to write. And in that qualitative section, 76% of the respondents emphasized relationships. I broke that down even further to go. First, I broke it up with relationships, academics, player development, and playing time. That was the 4 common themes that I found throughout the responses out of the 113 responses. And then I took that and I broke it down about relationship, what was the most important part of the relationship. And in that relationship component, there was honesty, communication, and relationship with the coach. Out of that 76% that answered that the relationship that they found that was important, 48% of that 76% said that the relationship with the coach meant the most. So with that being said, as you can see that for me, I know there's some common themes here, the money aspect, but I think bottom line it comes down to the relationship. The coach instills or creates with that student athlete. Last, or in the discussion here, overall, so then I'm going to discuss the 4 factors or 4 areas. Overall, most influential college choice factors. Financial aid scholarship offered was the number 1 choice. Snyder and Messenger in 2012 in their survey came up with the same results. Then coaching staff and academic programs. As I look and analyze the gender perspectives of the most influential factors, overall, females ranked the amount of financial aid, scholarship, academic programs, and the amount of playing time. Lim and Goss both found those to be similar. I found those to be similar to those two articles that I read, meaning that the females found that the amount of financial aid scholarship, academic programs, and the amount of playing time were common with their research. Males ranked the three most overall factors as the amount of financial aid scholarships offered, the coaching staff, and the amount of playing time. Remillard in 2014 came up with the same findings in his research. The most overall factor was financial aid, coaching staff, and the amount of playing time. This was done in 2014. Moving on to the next section was, what did the coach do, or what influencing factors did the coach have, where they answered 70% or better. This is where they were asked, what interactions with the coach or the college that they felt that was most influential for them, and it was over 70%. Coach watched me play in a game. Coach emailed me. Coach texted me. The coach called me. 91% agreed that for females, 91% of the females agreed that when the coach called them, that's 23 out of the 25 participants in this survey agreed that the coach texting me and the interaction with the coach was huge for them. The other two were in a neutral position, so none of them did not feel that it wasn't a factor. Gabbert in 1999 came up with the same results in that survey or that study, that females like that interaction with the coach, making sure that the coach is building that relationship. Males ranked the three most influential athletic programs. 70% or better was coach texting me, the coach called me, and the coach invited me to college. Again, in Gabbert in 1999, he saw the same factors in his study. There was little difference in college choice for ethnicity. Wasn't a big area. I know Gabbert in 1990, again in Rinke's 2011 surveys, they also found that ethnicity really didn't have play a part in their surveys. And the most crucial factor that coaches could emphasize when recruiting student-athlete relationships, Vermillion Spears 2016 and Williamson 2017 came up that relationship was the number one factor in academics, player development, and player time. So this study is consistent with the other studies that I read in 2016 and 2017 regarding the relationship being the biggest component of recruiting. Some of the future recommendations, implications, and future research. Coaches should focus on financial aid. Of course, that's always a give and take. Snyder and Messenger in 2012 found that financial aid was one of their biggest factors. Coaching staff for MER in 2014 saw that coaching staff had a huge component to do with the decision making. The academic programs in Kankley and Quarterman about softball players, they saw that the fact that academics plays a huge component in college choice factors. Coaches need to be aware and adjust recruiting tactics with female acquiring relationships. Males concerned about the coaching staff. So, females are more inclined to go to that school if they feel they have a good relationship with that coach, and males are more concerned about the relationship with the coaching staff. So, anyways, implications. Coaches should pay special attention to each factor. By strategizing and developing a plan to address factors from recruiting athletes, coaches can optimize their recruiting efforts at any level of college sports. Coaches recruiting players, male athletes need to be familiar with ideas that male are highly interested in financial aid, coaching staff, and playing time, where female coaches need to be aware of highly interested in financial aid, academics, and playing time. Coaches need to develop a relationship that helps influence college choice factors. Future research could expand on universities while serving student non-athletes. Williamson 2017 suggested that studies would need to be done every year. Expanded, and also in Vermillion Spears 2012, expanded the collection of data by the student review interviews and increased surveys and include relevant areas in sports. With that being said, this researcher just hopes that this presentation, this paper helps coaches, colleges, universities, even student athletes realize that there are many factors that go into this, and we need to stay ever so aware of these situations as they change daily, even yearly. One of the things that I'm going to take away from this is my recruiting efforts as a college coach to develop that relationship, making sure that I know my academic programs are in line with their academic goals, and that the amount of financial aid is appropriate, and that as a deciding factor. Knowing those top three factors, male or female, will help me develop a successful program, get that top tier athlete, get the university to meet their numbers and quota for enrollment. So it's just an ongoing process that we'll always continue to research. So I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to your responses, and boy, we made it.